Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie, and this week on the Supernatural finale, the mother of all cliffhangers happen. And as crazy as it is to think, I think Season 10 is going to be one of the most interesting the show has ever had. Metatron even gave us one of the best ideas for a new Supernatural spinoff that I've heard in a long time. If you're just finding me for the first time, I do videos for all kinds of awesome sci-fi and fantasy that I really love, like Supernatural, Game of Thrones, Marvel. Be sure to subscribe to get everything, and feel free to leave me any suggestions for bonus videos you want to see me do for Team Winchester during the hiatus. So, time to get Winchestered. That's not a sex thing, by the way. Careful for spoilers from the episode if you haven't seen it yet, but let's start with top 5 moments, and then I'll do my review, as well as talk about Season 10 just a little bit. But here we go. Number 5, Metatron becomes the world's biggest YouTube star, ahead of PewDiePie. It's actually a pretty ingenious plan. If you wanted people to start thinking you were God, you'd have to use some sort of social media platform to reach as many eyeballs as quickly as possible. And YouTube is the world's biggest social media platform. People just forget that because it's video. I always thought angels needed human souls to become more powerful, like whenever Castiel became God. He didn't really literally become God, he just became so powerful he was like God. And the same is true for Metatron. He's just tapping into the energy of the angel tablet. That's why he made that strange reference whenever he was punching Dean's lights out. He was talking about being powered by the word of God. The tablet was literally powering him versus Dean being powered by the blade. Obviously, the word of God's going to be more powerful because it's literally the words of creation. I love the idea that he was storing it inside of his typewriter. I'm guessing he was just translating it into readable words, and that was the story that he was writing, the best story ever that he kept talking about. If you remember, he spent a lot of time this season talking to Castiel about how the best writers rip all their material off. So I guess he's kind of ripping God off whenever he's writing his story, because the tablet are God's words. He's still alive anyway, so hopefully in Season 10 we'll learn more about what that story he was writing was going to be, whatever his ending was. It's almost like George R. R. Martin teasing out bits of Winds of Winter on his blog. Maybe that's what Metatron's going to do in Season 10. He's going to tease out his story. Number 4, Castiel uses his knowledge of pop culture to defeat Metatron. Getting the villain to monologue while you secretly broadcast him to the whole school is an oldie but a goodie. When Metatron told Castiel he should have read more, he was forgetting that he implanted the sum total of all pop culture that existed in his brain. Remember, Metatron basically copy and pasted his brain into Castiel, and he'd seen basically every movie that's ever been made, every book that's ever been written, so now Castiel has all that knowledge too. So in a way, Metatron kind of defeated himself. I don't think Castiel would have thought to do that otherwise. And now that he's defeated him, Castiel's the reluctant leader again. Whenever Hannah asked him about his grace, I actually thought he was going to go borrow Dean to heal himself like Gadriel did at the beginning of the season. I'll talk more about Castiel in Season 10 after my review, but one of the funniest or even best takeaways from this whole scene is that Castiel essentially broke the most powerful weapon in the universe to save one person, Dean. I'm sure all the Destiel shippers out there's heads just exploded whenever he said that. Number 3, Crowley is getting restless in hell. This all ties into that speech in the diner where he gets all existential on Dean and makes him wonder if there's anything more for him beyond hunting. Now that we've seen the whole episode, I kind of think he was foreshadowing Dean becoming a demon. Like Crowley himself was also getting tired of the daily grind and was just waiting for Dean to die so that the Mark would resurrect him as a demon and they could go on new adventures together as a pair of demons. Like Crowley thought he'd replace Sam in Dean's life. As much as Sam made fun of Dean for his Crowley bromance, I think that Crowley really does enjoy his time with Dean. For all the Batman fans out there, Ra's al Ghul actually had this really cool comic book line once where he said, "Memory is the first casualty of immortality." Well, I guess excitement is the second, because Crowley seems like he's really getting bored. Dean turning is like the best thing that could have ever happened to him. It creates its own unique set of problems, for Crowley that is, but I'll talk about that after my review. Number 2, Dean dies. I always knew one of them would sacrifice themselves at the end of the season, and given last year it was Sam's turn, it only makes sense that Dean gets his wish and dies this season. Well, not exactly. We won't really know what his reaction to being a demon is till episode 1 of Season 10, but up to that point, I think Dean was just happy to be rid of his blade addiction. Like, he was happy at the idea of solving his problems by dying. You guys can let me know what you thought of the drug addict storyline. It's kind of been done a little bit on Supernatural, so it's not something new. But I like the idea that the drugs, or the blade, never lets you go for real. Like, you never stop being an addict. So even though Dean's a demon, he'll still have that addiction. He'll just have a little bit more power to control it. Given those last couple of moments, I think we can surmise that Dean will not be able to die for real until he passes the mark on to someone else. And my number one moment, no surprise here, Dean becomes a demon. Of all the possible resolutions to this season, this was one of the best. I can't wait to see Dean embrace some of his more destructive tendencies. Being that he's a demon, he'll still have his old personality. Remember, think about Kane. He had the mark, and when we first met him, he seemed pretty normal, so I'm expecting Dean to still tell the same jokes and still go out for burgers and women. He'll just have some demon urges on top of all those other vices. The real question, though, now is how can Sam and Castiel fix him, or at least bring him into heaven, if that's even possible? I think it is, but I think a lot of it's going to have to do with the way Castiel fixes heaven and repairing the tablet. I think the tablet's going to be part of it too. So maybe that means that we'll bring Kevin back because only a prophet can fix the tablet. So I'm really interested to see what ends up happening. But now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments below. What was your favorite moment? And do you think that they'll be able to save Dean? Or will he just spend the rest of eternity as a demon? Wouldn't that be a crazy way for them to end the series, with Sam becoming the vessel for an angel and living forever in heaven, and Dean living forever in hell as a demon? I don't actually think that's what's going to happen, but it's funny to think about it that way. But since there were so many awesome one-liners, here's a few of my favorites from the episode. The best was probably Metatron saying, "Winning a People's Choice Award, not quite the real thing." It was just a burn against Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, who have both won People's Choice Awards, but never an Emmy. Although Supernatural as a series has been nominated for an Emmy twice. Then there was Dean saying, "Hell isn't complicated. Game of Thrones and shower sex are complicated." Everyone on staff just must really like Game of Thrones. I've heard more references to that show than any other on Supernatural this season. It's almost like every episode there's a Game of Thrones reference. Then there was Crowley saying, "I guess I've been Winchestered." That totally sounds like a sex act, and I cannot wait for Tumblr to just run with it. Then Metatron when he said, "They love me. They really love me." In case you didn't know, Sally Field said that line after winning back-to-back Oscars for movies that she had done a long, long time ago, like way back in the 70s. Then Metatron made a reference to Locked Up Abroad Heaven Edition. It's a reference to a TV series called An Idiot Abroad. It's a comedy travel show where Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant, and Warwick Davis send this really dumb person to travel around visiting places and being silly. That show is a parody itself, so Metatron is parodying a parody, and that is why I totally love Supernatural. Overall, just comparing Supernatural to itself in previous finales, I have to say this is definitely one of my top 3. I'll say that Season 5 is still my all-time favorite finale, just because that was meant to be a true series finale, like it was meant to be the end of the show. They didn't know they were picked up for Season 6 until after they shot it, so it was like a real deal ending. But you really have to look at Supernatural a little differently than you do other shows because it has been going on for almost 10 years, which is just amazing, especially that it's sustained its popularity. To that end, we really have to give credit to the characters for being so strong. This year, my new favorite has obviously been Curtis Armstrong as Metatron. He actually did this interview with Chris Hardwick on his Nerdist podcast where he said he still cannot get cast in a pilot to save his life. But on a show like Supernatural, he can really prove how awesome he can be as this, ridiculous Metatron villain. He really did make for one of my favorite all-time Supernatural villains. And because the writers used the conceit of Metatron being the scribe of God in writing the greatest story ever written, it gave them the opportunity to just go nuts with pop culture jokes, which also became a backdoor to change Castiel on a fundamental level. So now Castiel gets everyone's jokes. Even though he's not a TV junkie, his brain just contains all that knowledge. I wasn't quite as happy with Sam's arc this season as I was with Dean and the Mark of Cain, but he has all of next year to redeem himself. As silly as it can be sometimes, I totally think Supernatural earns all of its moments. Like, the ridiculousness all comes from a very logical place inside the universe it's created for itself, so there were never really any plot twists or character arcs I felt were out of place. But here's where we need to talk a little bit about Season 10, Castiel in Heaven and Dean as a demon. So, Castiel has to finish fixing heaven because even though he knows where the entrance is, there's still a bunch of wayward angels on Earth, and I think it's going to involve repairing the tablet. They can be repaired, the tablets, but only by the prophet meant to read them, which means Castiel will probably still need Metatron's help, who is currently rotting in heaven's prison. Then there's Dean and Crowley. Dean is a demon now, he still has the Mark of Cain and the First Blade, so he'll have a little bit more power over his urges to kill, but he'll still be a threat to Crowley. I like the idea that Dean might play for the throne of hell by using the First Blade on Crowley, but I do not see the series ending with Dean becoming the king of hell. That is just an awesome fantasy that I will let Tumblr explore. What I do expect, though, is that the brothers will be reunited. There'll be like an interesting twist, though. I'm really interested to see which direction they take it. I don't expect it to be all mopped up nice and neat, but I do think that Castiel will have his grace restored eventually. I don't want to make too many predictions before they start teasing out actual details for season 10 episodes, but I'll bet they'll drop some huge bombs at Comic-Con this summer, so I'll be sure to do another video whenever we get more real info. In related news, if there's any Team Winchester bonus videos you guys want me to do in the off-season, just let me know in the comments. Normally Tuesdays are going to be like Star Wars Marvel video days. Be sure to subscribe to get everything, but right now you can click here for all my other Supernatural videos this season, and you can click here for the brand new Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. That movie is going to be ridiculous and amazing. So thank you so much, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. You've just been Winchestered.